have some motorcycles showing up this weekend.
Yeah.
What are you being told about that in terms of public safety and support for Ottawa Police? Where's your concern about these motorcycles?
Well, I've seen some public reports about the so-called is it a Rolling Thunder convoy, which is coming. Look, folks who live here in Ottawa have it still very fresh in their mind what they went through at the end of January and February, where people's lives were completely upended. I would say there is still exceptional sensitivity to the fact that they couldn't get to work. I mean, the Rideau Centre was completely shut down. Small businesses were completely shut down. Speaking of statistics, I mean, they laid out a very transparent business case in the way in which they took losses. Small businesses took losses here. And also, folks are still very, I think, sensitive to the fact that while we all respect, lawful protest, that you can't then cross the Rubicon and engage in illegal conduct, which is why I think it's really important that anybody who wants to engage in a kind of occupation that we saw in January, February, has to know that that's just not on. That we're going to provide the tools and the resources that are necessary for law enforcement to uphold the law in the way that they did. And there were some lessons that were taken, particularly I think for local police, the Ottawa Police Service. The interim chief, Bell, came up with, I think, some very appropriately strong language that we're not going to have a replay. And of course, of January and February. So we place our confidence in law enforcement to uphold the law, respect the right to lawful protest, but do not want to see anything in the form of an illegal occupation again.
Do you think that you've learned enough, you as the government, that the police have learned enough the first time around to prevent that from happening again? Do you think there will be better coordination, for example, of police forces?
Well, I certainly believe that the lessons that we took from the illegal blockades in Ottawa are ones that we are continuing to reflect on, which is why the two independent review processes under the Emergencies Act are so important. The Joint Parliamentary Committee, which has already begun its work, as well as the official public inquiry, which we launched yesterday, which will be headed up by Justice Paul Rouleau of the Ontario Court of Appeal, so that we can be sure that we don't have a replay.
But neither of those things have been completed, and there's another protest planned for 3 days from now.
The fact that the work is not totally complete does not mean that in progress our police are refining their techniques, their tactics, making sure that they're able to communicate, that they're able to quickly respond with the agility that is necessary to respond to public order events. But I would say that while I know and I'm confident that police are working in those lessons into their own operational plans, which of course are independent from government. You don't want governments and elected politicians wearing uniforms and badges and enforcing the law. That's not the way our democracy works. It's equally important that Canadians respect each other. That no matter how vigorous our disagreements may be about this policy or that policy, that we don't break the law. And that's what we saw during the course of the illegal blockades. And don't take it from me. Look at the fact that there were hundreds of charges that were laid, again, on the basis of evidence that was gathered by police. We cannot condone that kind of conduct. So while, again, we encourage robust debate, and as a democracy, we respect and adhere to the value of free speech, there is never any justification to moving out of that space into the space of committing illegal conduct.